Hi, it's Bella DeVeraOfficial.wordpress.com, and I'm talking about my foundation today. I'm making several videos so my video doesn't get too long on this kind of like one topic or several in one video, whatever. But it's several videos, obviously. So for one thing, I'm not wearing makeup because my foundation is about that, letting you see who I really am. Not that I looked perfect anyway, but anyway. And my foundation is about the other things in the other videos. I've mentioned the 2 videos already. This is the 3rd one. So watch that if you want to know more about that. And my foundation is about no labels and no walls. So my part of my title for this subject on the series of these videos for this subject is something I'm not even going to say because I don't approve of labels. I hate them. They're not nice. They're bullyish, and I don't accept it in my foundation, which everyone is accepted into, by the way. So what I'm talking about is boundaries and no walls, and Neptune. Neptune is fog, and I'm talking about the sun, which is your ego. So please watch the other videos because there is basically roughly half an hour's worth of information of my perspective on life. And those 2 videos I'm not going to repeat, obviously, in this video. But to continue those subjects, we're talking about Neptune and the Sun. Neptune is no boundaries and fog and feeling bad so you say things that people want to hear. It's just like a compassionate kind of a dreamy kind of romantic thing going on. But Leo, the sun, the 5th house, is the acting house, the creative house. That's the liar house, in case you were wondering. If there was ever a label that I accept, it's just what the planets and zodiac signs and houses are about. And it's just to explain the misconceptions there are about Neptune and Pisces and the 5th house and such zodiac signs and people and chakras and all that stuff, what the misconceptions are about, relationships that have to do with the part of the title, which I'm not even going to say, like I said, because I don't approve of it. It's not nice. I just did it to get your attention because I'm hoping enough people hear or read on Twitter or other social media or on YouTube about my foundation and that I don't like labels. So I used one for this series of a topic, to get your attention. But what I want to talk about is no walls and boundaries and compromising and letting people know who you really are. And just really quick, codependency is because of being hurt, because you want to feel loved and not rejected. That's all about Pluto and the 8th house. So whenever Pluto thinks it can one up someone on a certain subject and control them, that's not Neptune. That's not fog where like things are just foggy like a mirror and you can't really see the details, of what's in the mirror. Pluto is control for one thing and manipulative. Neptune can be manipulative because I'm sorry, there was something on my lip. Neptune can be manipulative in the way that it's like the foggy romantic thing, like saying things that people want to hear because it feels like bad because it thinks it's giving you some gift, of saying things that it thinks you want to hear, even if it's not what you wanted to hear. But Pluto is manipulative, like in a controlling, obsessive, psychotic way. Pluto is the psychotic planet and the transformation and growth planet. And the 8th house is all about it too. And Scorpio, and especially is Mars, kind of like Pluto is more, but Pluto and Mars co-rules Scorpio. Sorry, Mars rules Aries too, which is a whole different subject. And we're not really talking about Mars, which is aggression, which can be a part of the whole Pluto thing. But we're talking about boundaries and walls and compromise and Neptune and Pluto. Pluto really lets you see who someone is, which I love Pluto. I love Sanskrit. I love the whole subject and getting to know people. And I'm not afraid of it. Like, my whole life is really platonic, like, extremely. Not in a freaky, psychotic way. It's just situations have been, and I'm dealing with it. That doesn't mean my chakras are perfect. That doesn't mean I have a foundation because I'm perfect, because I'm not. I can relate to people about Pluto because my life is Pluto-ish. I have things to deal with. And I still have things to deal with, and I always will. Because how do you get a perfect life all of a sudden? You don't. So what I want to talk about is um, the whole, like, letting people see who you really are, which I really talked about in the other video, and Neptune and my perspective, completely different perspectives than some other astrologers' videos on this subject, all about uh, like, if you are the kind of person that wears, you know, if you have Aries or Taurus or Gemini or Cancer or Leo, Virgo or Libra, or all the zodiac signs in your birth chart somewhere, they all have appearances and clothes they wear and the way they move and the way they talk and their voice, and their height and their weight kind of, is a certain kind of or broad shoulders or little shoulders, all those kinds of things and features of the face. That's all about zodiac signs, even though the ascendant is your public persona and your appearance. All planets can give you a certain look because of the zodiac signs. So I want to talk about that and talk about your personality and where you show up in the world and how you do that and compromise, and no walls. My foundation is about no walls. So to deal with the no walls thing, for one thing, I don't need to acknowledge your one screwed up chakra having a problem at the moment in front of me. I don't. I can be nice to you anyway and have a conversation with you anyway and not acknowledge that. Because then your true self will come out, which I talked about in another video, which is such an important subject that people screw over. Your true self is when you can hold on that conversation. Your hurt self is when you can't. People flip the two and say it's the other way around. It's not. And your true self will come out. Whenever someone acknowledges your true self, you know, that's the thing in my foundation. Whenever I say that, it means a whole book of things, which I didn't cover in the one video, but I touched on the subject. In a general way, I explained it. So watch that video. So whenever you're being your real self, and you want no walls and you want boundaries in a healthy way. No walls when you have no walls and when you have boundaries. There are two completely different things, and they're important to have in relationships or not have. The no walls thing can make it so you can have relationships. The boundaries can make it so you can have relationships. And you don't have to go overboard and make it so you have so many boundaries that you build walls then, because that's not what life is about either. So what this is about is having boundaries, and then your true self can come out. But the way to do that, I think, is to show up in the world however you are and accept people however they are, imperfections and uh, you know, ways of being and talking, dressing, and whatever else, do whatever you want, and be imperfect, have enough guts to not wear makeup in public or, whatever. But if you want to wear makeup, whatever, wear it then, whatever. You're yourself. I don't care whether you wear makeup or not. Feel free if you want, be yourself. Be crazy looking if you want or not if you want, because that's cool, whoever you really are. But like, don't do it to like cover up yourself or make yourself be someone that you're not, you know, which is a deep subject, which I'm not going to get into very, very much because that's a whole different other subject. But be confident and be who you want to be, be like the zodiac signs in your birth chart or the aspects or whatever, which is a whole nother subject too. But the way to do that is you do whatever you want, and that'll set boundaries. You don't compromise who you are for someone else. You tell them who you are, you don't ask them who you're allowed to be. And that's where some of my videos are different from other astrologers, which, by the way, your chakras and your belief system, which starts from when you're a child and what you've been taught, which is a big complex subject, especially your chakras and law of attraction stuff in your own personal life, that can be why certain people say certain things that they do. So if you want to disagree with me on your own channel, feel free, or on mine, or be a jerk if you want. I don't give a crap. I probably won't even acknowledge it. And if I do, it's because my Mercury in Capricorn felt like it for a certain reason. So if your Mercury, for one thing, is in a good aspect of mine, you understood why. If it's not, maybe. Mostly you did. If it's not, maybe you didn't. But that's a whole other subject too, which I don't give a crap about. Responding or not responding is not going to change my chakras if I know how to deal with them. It doesn't. And it doesn't give you a certain kind of energy either, or chakras. It just doesn't. I can respond to you all day, not maybe all day, but like just for what I'm trying to explain, I use that expression. But having a conversation with a person is not going to screw up your chakras. If they're already screwed up, they're gonna be screwed up. If they're not at the moment, or if one isn't, it's not going to get screwed up all of a sudden just because you have a conversation with someone. It can get screwed up somewhat and imbalanced, like too high or too low because of life, but it's more complex than one conversation. One conversation, one response is not going to screw up your life. And if I want to respond or not respond, you can't tell me that I'm doing that because of you controlling me. You don't control people, you control yourself. And you make the decision to let other people influence you because of a big complex subject, But you, the whole, the title part of the title of this subject, is about what I'm talking about. what I'm saying in this video. And it's about what I'm saying, what I just said about the whole being yourself, setting boundaries. You be yourself, and that sets boundaries. If you are consistent in being yourself, like, whoever you want to be or whoever you are naturally, because of zodiac signs and stuff, not that it's perfect. That's not perfect either. Nothing is. But, and life can give you experiences where you can figure out who you are and who you want to be and stuff, who you naturally are, or what is in your birth chart maybe. But for the title, part of the title, I want to talk about that and control, which is Pluto. If you have Pluto issues, that doesn't necessarily give you a certain label. And the whole boundaries thing gets set when you're yourself and you don't compromise who you are for anyone. If you want to be sensible and be business-like, or, like, not be a jerk and be like, make a point to stand out from everyone else because you feel like you need attention. That's your chakra, some certain chakra or two being screwed up. So, you need to deal with that. But, and in general, just show up in the world how you naturally are, though. Don't compromise who you are. You know, you never need to compromise who you are for someone else. And like I said, the whole, like, if you're a business meeting, because of a foundation you have, but the foundation isn't your actual job, and the job is that you're a chef, so you wear a certain chef's uniform. You're probably not going to go to the business meeting with the chef's uniform on, but if you want to wear certain kinds of clothes or certain kinds of have a certain personality, you do that, and you don't compromise for people. Like, if you want to let people see who you really are, like, don't make up a personality and say, okay, so I am a fisherman when I'm not, like, and have a bunch of fisherman stuff because I want to attract a fisherman, person, lady or man, whatever, whoever I'm interested in, you know, you need to show up in the world like who you really are, and set boundaries that way too. Also, like, make sure people can see who you really are. Like, if I am practicing the violin and I'm not, some, you know, haven't had some professional career of it, like, in a, advanced way, I don't, get online and lie about it or something. But the thing is that if I want to, you know, take my violin somewhere, and that's not lying, you don't have to go overboard with the letting people see who you really are thing. Like, the whole other different kind of letting people see who you are thing about the in the other videos, that's one part of it. This is another part of it. You know, you don't have to be afraid of the whole Neptune situation going on if you have an aspect of 5, and say, I must not take my violin with me, and because someone's gonna think I'm a professional violinist because my ascendant sign is Leo and I have confidence, when I'm just practicing still, I can take my violin with me anywhere I want. maybe not like anywhere, not into a hospital operation or something, obviously, or that kind of ridiculous um, example, but you need to be confident in yourself and let people see who you want to be. That's part of what my foundation is about. Don't ask people who you're allowed to be. You tell them who you want to be. Make sure you're not like making up crap about you, but if you're so worried that you're gonna lie to someone because they see something in you, and then like the if you do have some big Neptune uh, um, situation happening because of 5 aspects, and it just gets blown out of the water and out of proportion, I don't think one little decision you make is going to make that whole big explosion happen. Neptune makes it happen, and maybe details in life too in this industry, but you can't go overboard with having walls around you where you're forgetting to live and like not being who you want to be because you want to make sure you're looking just a certain way so you don't create situations, because then you can create a situation without trying to, with trying not to, so that's a part of this part of the title, like I'm not even going to talk about it more because you can, you know, put this into your life and your situations and apply it where it needs to be applied, and think about it where it needs to be thought about. Um so that's one thing I want to talk about. And for my foundation, the big picture in life, that's what my foundation is about. Neptune is like not seeing details, but my foundation is for like it's not for trying to figure out everything that's going to happen in life, but it's for the big picture of no walls, and it's for the big picture of boundaries in a healthy way. Setting them, like saying, you know, not saying I'm putting up a boundary now because that creates walls, I think, sometimes, but just being who you are, and then that sets boundaries, and in a healthy way. So my foundation is for the big picture of, you know, what my foundation is about, like, we're all worth it, and love and no walls, Um, it's for seeing, that we need people in our lives, whenever you do other things that I've mentioned in the other videos, and then you create stuff, to deal with, and perspectives that I don't agree with, and then you can't see the big picture of, we're all worth it and we all need love. Whenever you accept someone in your life, to learn from them, and they're in your life forever, and to love them and to be loved in all the things you do, people, things you do, you don't need to avoid this big picture that I have of, no walls and we're all worth it, and say, you need walls because I'm not good enough to be in your life, that doesn't, that's not legitimate for my life or for my foundation, we're all worth it and we all need people in our lives, and caring about life happens by having people in your life. And you're supposed to have people in your life. You're supposed to care, and you're supposed to get stressed out in a good way. Some amount of stress is healthy. It's good. It's not bad. You're supposed to want to work on things with people and supposed to feel worth it and supposed to tell people they're worth it. Not that everybody ends up staying in your life forever, but some people can. And my foundation is for that big picture of seeing that we're all worth it and that you're supposed to have people in your life, not like avoid people because that doesn't help you be a person, that helps you not be a person. That helps you avoid life and being a person. And, you know, life is scary, but you need to be in it. You need to deal with it, even if you're scared to, even if you don't think you know how. That's what helps you be a person, not avoiding life and saying, I'm not good enough to be around, or you're not good enough to be around, because we all are. You can be forgiving and loving and understanding and set boundaries by just showing people who you are, by just being who you are, put up walls and boundaries and like mix the two and by saying, okay, I'm doing this now, like it's not necessary to announce that you're, putting up boundaries or healthy ones. And it's not necessary to announce that you aren't good enough or that someone else isn't good enough, because everyone's good enough, if you are forgiving and loving and giving, like the 12th house in Sagittarius, the house trigger, whenever your ascendant, sun, moon, or other planets in the birth chart or something triggers the 12th house in Sagittarius and you're giving to someone, that's not the house of walking all over someone. There isn't no such house. That's not a boundary issue you're having with someone when you're being giving. Whenever you're being giving because of the 12th house, it's karmic and the person deserves it. And it might be someone that has a screwed up chakra or perspective that is about like not feeling worth it, but you are worth it. And no walls, or walls, I mean, create it so you can't do the house triggers, which I have videos on if you don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, you need to just be confident with yourself and let people see who you are, and that sets boundaries naturally. I don't cover all my notes, but at least one more video, so I'll be doing that just in a minute.